Welcome back to the Greyhawk Deep Dive. We're in the final month of Greyhawk Adventures before our big finale, and I am so excited to tackle Puppets. This module is truly unique, blending two RPGA Network tournaments, Puppets by Vince Garcia, and at last, Raven's Bluff by Bruce Rabe. You'll find that PDF link in the video description, so grab that and let's dive in. This time we're dealing with a thrilling mystery involving tiny puppet thieves, a paladin with a vampire vendetta, and a leprechaun with a few secrets of his own.
It's a wild ride, that's for sure. And what makes Puppets so special is how it throws you right into the thick of things. You're not starting in some cozy tavern. You're part of a caravan heading from the wild coast through the infamous Gnarley Forest to Dyvers.
Talk about trial by fire. And things go from bad to worse pretty quickly. The journey is fraught with danger, with bandits and monsters lurking around every corner.
The module does a great job of establishing a sense of vulnerability. You're not some high-level hero with legendary gear. You're just another face in the crowd.
Yeah.
Trying to survive. And that sense of vulnerability really heightens the stakes.
Absolutely. You're constantly on edge, never knowing what's going to jump out at you next. And speaking of a jumping out, let's talk about Lord Crendel, the vampire hunting paladin. Now that's an encounter you don't forget easily.
What's fascinating about Crendel is that he embodies both the classic paladin archetype and a cautionary tale. He's driven by a noble cause, but his zeal borders on obsession, leading him to make rash decisions, destroying a caravan wagon because he thinks a vampire is hiding inside. That's taking things a bit far, even for a paladin.
It definitely makes you question the line between righteousness and fanaticism. And you know what else is interesting? The way this encounter plays with player choices. Do you try to reason with Crendel? Do you fight him? Or do you just try to avoid him altogether? Each choice has consequences that ripple throughout the adventure.
That's one of the strengths of this module. It doesn't railroad you into a single path. It presents you with meaningful choices. That shape the narrative, just like a good 5th edition campaign should. And this element of choice comes into play again. When you encounter Taff the Daring and his band of halflings.
Right. You stumble upon these halflings who are anything but jolly and carefree. They're desperate for help. Their village raided by orcs. Now, you could easily brush them off, prioritize your own mission, but where's the fun in that?
Choosing to help the halflings isn't just a detour. It's a glimpse into another facet of the Greyhawk setting. It shows that even in a world filled with epic adventures, there are smaller, more personal conflicts happening all the time. It also provides an opportunity to role-play different motivations. Is your character driven by compassion, a sense of duty, or maybe just the promise of a good fight?
And let's not forget the potential rewards. Helping the halflings could earn you their trust and gratitude, maybe even some valuable information or a hidden treasure. But it also comes with risks. Venturing deeper into the Gnarley Forest means facing even more danger.
Exactly. It's a classic risk-reward scenario, and it's up to you, the player, to decide whether the potential rewards outweigh the dangers. This choice highlights how Puppets isn't just about following a linear plot. It's about making choices that matter and dealing with the consequences.
It's almost like the module is a puppet master itself, pulling the strings and guiding you through this intricate web of encounters and decisions. But even with those strings, you still have the agency to choose your path. Now, eventually, you do make it out of the Gnarley Forest. But that's just the beginning of the adventure.
And what an adventure it is, because as you soon discover, the city of Dyvers is just as dangerous, if not more so, than the wilds.
Oh, I can't wait to get into that. But for now, let's pause and let our listeners digest all this delicious Greyhawk goodness. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell to stay up to date with our deep dives. And if you're enjoying our Greyhawk month, let us know in the comments which modules you'd like us to cover in the future. We'll be right back with more Puppets after a short break.
Welcome back to our Greyhawk deep dive into the Puppets module. We left off with our intrepid adventurers arriving in the bustling city of Dyvers, expecting a respite from the perils of the Gnarley Forest.
Dyvers, the city of coins, a melting pot of cultures, a hub of trade. And as we're about to find out, a hotbed of mystery and intrigue. What's fascinating about this module is that it doesn't let up on the tension. The danger just takes a different form. Instead of orcs and bandits, you're dealing with whispers in alleyways and a creeping sense of unease.
Exactly. The module does a fantastic job of transitioning from a wilderness exploration to an urban investigation. It's almost like the game master is saying, okay, you survived the forest, but now let's see if you can handle the city's underbelly.
And what an underbelly it is. Dyvers is plagued by a series of baffling burglaries, targeting inns and wealthy homes. But these aren't your typical smash and grab jobs. There are no signs of forced entry, no witnesses, and the thieves seem to have an uncanny ability to bypass even the most secure locks.
The mystery element of puppets is what truly sets it apart. It's a classic whodunit, with the players acting as detectives, gathering clues, and piecing together the puzzle. You're not just fighting monsters, you're engaging your brain, analyzing evidence, and sifting through rumors. It's almost like playing a game within a game.
It's a nice change of pace, especially for players who enjoy role-playing and problem-solving. And the module provides a wealth of opportunities for both. Think about it. You have to interview innkeepers, question suspicious characters, and maybe even delve into the city's criminal underworld.
And speaking of the underworld, let's not forget the rumors swirling through the city streets. Is the Thieves Guild behind these burglaries? Is it a vengeful mage seeking retribution? Or could it be something even more sinister? Something tied to Dyvers' long and troubled history?
The rumor mechanic in this module is brilliant. It throws you off balance, makes you question everything. Do you trust the information you're given? Or is it a red herring designed to mislead you? It really puts your deduction skills to the test.
The DM has so much room to play with these rumors. They can weave them into the narrative, use them to foreshadow future events, or even create entire subplots based on the player's reactions. It's a great way to keep the players engaged and on their toes.
It's almost like the city of Dyvers becomes a character in its own right, with its secrets, its hidden agendas, and its own sense of danger. And as you delve deeper into the mystery, you realize that things are not what they seem.
Absolutely. And this is where the puppets module takes a delightfully creepy turn. Remember those missing dolls everyone's been whispering about? Well, they're not just missing, they're the culprits.
Tiny puppet thieves. It's such a bizarre and unexpected twist. I mean, who would suspect a group of animated dolls of masterminding these intricate heists?
It's brilliant. The concept plays on our preconceived notions of what constitutes a threat. We expect villains to be imposing, powerful, maybe even a little monstrous. But in puppets, the danger comes in a small, unassuming package.
And it's not just the novelty factor. Think about the tactical implications of fighting tiny, agile puppets. They can squeeze through tight spaces, hide in plain sight, and strike with surprising speed and ferocity.
It's a nightmare for any adventurer accustomed to facing larger, more predictable foes. You can't just swing your sword wildly. You have to be precise, adaptable, and maybe even a little creative.
I can imagine the chaos these puppets would cause in a 5th edition campaign. Picture a party of adventurers trying to corner a tiny puppet rogue darting between their legs, using their own bulk against them.
It would be hilarious and terrifying at the same time. And let's not forget the mastermind behind these puppet thieves. Bronwyn, the rogue mage.
Bronwyn is such a fascinating character. She's cunning, resourceful, and clearly not afraid to break the rules. But what I find intriguing is her choice of weapon. Puppets. Why puppets? What does that tell us about her as a character?
That's a great question. It suggests a certain level of detachment, a preference for manipulating events from the shadows, rather than engaging in direct confrontation. Perhaps she sees magic as a tool, and the puppets as extensions of her will.
It's almost like she's a puppeteer herself, orchestrating these events for her own amusement or gain.
Yeah.
And to catch her, you have to unravel her intricate web of illusions and deceptions.
It's a mental game, a battle of wits, and the stakes are high.
Because Bronwyn is not someone you want to underestimate.
Absolutely. She's a wild card,
Yeah.
a force to be reckoned with, and the chase is on. You're hot on the trail of these puppet thieves, following their tiny footprints through the maze-like streets of Dyvers.
Imagine the scene. You're dashing through darkened alleys, dodging startled market vendors, maybe even getting into a scuffle with the local Thieves Guild, who aren't too happy about these miniature competitors muscling in on their territory.
It's a cinematic sequence, full of action, suspense, and maybe even a touch of humor. And just when you think you've lost them, you spot it. Bronwyn's Tower, looming over the city like a silent sentinel. And within those walls lies the heart of the mystery, the answers you seek, and perhaps a confrontation you won't soon forget. But we'll save that for the next part of our deep dive. Until then, keep those dice rolling.
Welcome back to the Greyhawk Deep Dive. We're hot on the trail of Bronwyn and her mischievous puppets. And guess what? The chase has led us right to her doorstep, a seemingly unassuming tower in the heart of Dyvers.
Bronwyn's Tower is a reflection of its creator, deceptively simple on the outside, but brimming with secrets and surprises within. The module describes it as a veritable playground of traps, illusions, and of course, more puppets.
It's like walking into a twisted fairy tale. And just like in those stories, every room presents a new challenge, a new puzzle to solve. You might find yourself facing a menacing chef puppet wielding a meat cleaver in the kitchen, or navigating a hallway guarded by a life-size marionette, controlled by a mischievous ragdoll.
What's intriguing is how Bronwyn uses these puppets not just as guardians, but as extensions of her personality. Each encounter reveals a bit more about her warped sense of humor and her love for the theatrical.
Absolutely. It's not just about brute force. It's about outsmarting these whimsical yet dangerous creations. You might need to use your wits, your charm, or even a well-placed dispel magic to overcome these enchanted obstacles.
This is where Puppets shines in a 5th edition context. It encourages creative problem-solving and role-playing. Imagine a bard using their performance skills to distract a group of dancing dolls, or a rogue disarming a trap set by a toy soldier. The possibilities are endless.
And it's not just about fighting puppets. The tower is filled with clues about Bronwyn's past, her motivations, and the secrets behind her magical prowess. You might uncover hidden journals, strange alchemical concoctions, or even a glimpse into her personal workshop.
These details add depth to the adventure, transforming it from a simple dungeon crawl into a compelling investigation. You're not just trying to defeat an enemy, you're trying to understand them. And that understanding, in turn, makes the final confrontation all the more impactful.
Speaking of confrontation, let's talk about the main event. Facing off against Bronwyn herself. Now, the modules is a bit open-ended here. She might choose to fight, or she might try to escape, leaving behind a taunting note and a few treasures to distract you.
Either way, it's a satisfying climax to the adventure. If she fights, you're in for a challenging battle against a cunning sorceress who can control her puppet creations with masterful precision. But even if she escapes, you still accomplish your goal. Unravel the mystery and save Dyvers from these mischievous puppet thieves.
And let's not forget about Jester, Bronwyn's star pupil. The sentient puppet is more than just a thief. He's a reflection of her darker side, her willingness to push boundaries and exploit the vulnerabilities of others.
Jester's presence adds a layer of moral complexity to the adventure. He's not just a mindless automaton. He's a being capable of independent thought and action. Does he serve Bronwyn willingly? Or is he trapped, forced to obey her commands?
It's a question that lingers long after you've finished the module, and it speaks to the larger themes of free will, manipulation, and the consequences of unchecked ambition that run throughout the Greyhawk setting.
So what can we take away from this deep dive into puppets? Well, it's more than just a fun adventure with quirky villains. It's a testament to the versatility of D&D, showcasing how a game can blend action, mystery, and even a touch of horror into a cohesive and memorable experience.
It also reminds us that even in a world of powerful magic and epic heroes, the smallest of creatures can pose a significant threat, especially when wielded by a clever and ambitious mind.
And who knows, maybe Bronwyn and Jester are out there, somewhere in the vast world of Greyhawk, plotting their next mischievous scheme. Perhaps they'll cross paths with our listeners' characters someday, leading to an unforgettable encounter.
Now, before we wrap up our Greyhawk month, I want to remind everyone to check out the PDF link in the video description. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell to stay up to date on all things D&D and Greyhawk.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on puppets and any other Greyhawk modules you'd like us to cover. Leave a comment below, share your experiences, and let's keep the conversation going.
A huge thank you to Ken, our amazing producer, for digging up this classic module, and all of you for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, happy gaming.